Hi, welcome to Verse of the Day. My name is Brandon Hathaway. I'm the preacher here at the Westside Church of Christ in Owensboro, Kentucky. I want to thank you for joining me today as we open up the Bible and study the Word of God. Today we are in Judges chapter 20. Judges chapter 20 is where we're at. Hope you took time to read chapter 19 last week, or yesterday. Sorry, not last week. Yesterday, as it ties right into what we're getting into today in chapter 20 and as you continue through chapter 21. I always say these chapters here are some of the worst, right? Speaking of how bad mankind can get, of how bad people of God can get, people who were of God. I guess I should put it that way. Should be of God. Um, and it just again, when we get caught up in being surprised about stuff in the world today, you read through the scriptures, and again, what really should surprise us? Because in chapter 19, you have a Levite who goes and gets his concubine and chooses to stay among Israelites, but among the tribe of Benjamin. And while there, you have a similar situation that had arose like in Sodom and Gomorrah, that they had surrounded the place trying to get to this Levite and to do him harm. He left his concubine outside, and they had her way with her so much that when morning came, she died. And so, chapter 20, we're getting into the consequences of that. So he is sinning. He goes a harsh way about it, but he gets the attention of the rest of Israel by sending body parts of his concubine to them. And so they've gathered together, and they have decided to go against Benjamin to gather these men and punish them. And read with me the start of it right here in verse 11. It says, "Thus all the men of Israel were gathered against the city, united as one man. Then the tribes of Israel sent men through the entire tribe of Benjamin, saying, 'What is this wickedness that has taken place among you? Now then, deliver up the men, the worthless fellows of Gibeah, that we may put them to death and remove this wickedness from Israel.' But the sons of Benjamin would not listen to the voice of their brothers, the sons of Israel. The sons of Benjamin gathered from the cities of Gibeah to go out to battle against the sons of Israel." And then if you read through the rest of the chapter, you're going to see that there are a lot of people who die from Israel. And then at the end of the chapter, you end up getting a lot of Benjamites that end up dying too. Um, so much that they pretty much wipe them out, right? And so uh, it's just a terrible situation altogether. How far mankind goes in their evil actions there in chapter 19, to go too far to completely. But my point on the verses that we're reading here is they defended them, right? That the rest of the Benjamites that weren't in that city, they defended these people who had done this great evil act. That instead of punishing them and letting the punishment lie with them because they're the ones that had done it, they defended them. They gathered together with them. They stood in battle with them. It's just, again, those who call good evil and evil good, those who just simply ignore righteousness that comes from God and choose to make whatever they want to be their own righteousness. It's just, it's sickening. It really is. It should be sickening, right? And that's God's view about sin and how He looks at us when we're caught up in it. That He says it's like a dog who returns back to his vomit to eat it. It's nasty. It's gross, right? Um, and so I mean, when you read this situation, it's just, I mean, who would do that? Mankind. Men would do that. Men have done that. Men continue to do that. And so we need to make sure that we're on the right path, that we're lined up with God, lined up with the truth and the scriptures. Um, Because again, it shouldn't have never got that far. And I think that's where it comes into play that though God was with Israel, Israel did lose a lot of men. Um, they should have never allowed the Benjamites to become that evil. And why did they become that evil? Well, they're surrounded by a bunch of people who worship idols, right? The Canaanites, the Ammonites, the Hittites, and so they're surrounded by them. And if they'd have done things correctly in the first place, they'd have chased them all out. They wouldn't have all these temptations around them. If we start off on the right path, it's easier to stay on it. But where you start to veer off, then it's harder and harder to get back on that right path, and you always have those temptations lying around. Anyways, I want to thank you for joining me today. Hope everybody has a blessed day. The Lord's willing. Talk to you.